appreciate you being here today. I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask you, and let me get started.
Perfect.
You have been part of Vistage for over 5 years, and you started in the key group as the vice president of your company. And as you know, for our viewers' sake, the key group is made up of direct reports to the CEO or business owners.
Mhm.
Just over 2 years ago, you were promoted to run the company as president. How being part of a Vistage group of your peers play a part in your advancement?
Oof. Great question. I think the key group had different kind of objectives as far as the skill sets I was trying to develop at that point in time. Than being president. I think in the key group, and I'll kind of break it out into the two different Vistage group. The key group is all about more the operation side, how to manage the team, making sure people are motivated, getting the right people on the team, and really more hands-on in the business. Once we got to a point where, I was promoted, we went through an acquisition. So I think the idea of having advice and feedback from individuals who had either been through acquisitions before or helping kind of understand maybe some of the blind spots that I could have through that process was massively helpful. And then kind of pivoting to the CE group, it's more, you know, it's more about driving culture. It's more about making sure you have the right people, and then making sure that the numbers you have and the data you're looking at is effective in a way to help you actually scale the business. So the skill sets, while somewhat similar between kind of the key group and the CE group, I would say one's more just at a bit of a 5,000 foot view in the CE group. So both have been invaluable. I mean, as far as that point in my career and the development of skills that are needed to be in those roles effectively, and they both served their purpose really well for the positions I was in.
Well, I think a measure of your success is that you recently won the Vistage Impact Member Excellent Award. Uh, what did that mean to you and your company?
Yeah, I think the award, it's an honor to get it and be recognized. But I think it's calm seas don't make great sailors, and I think you don't win awards by having calm seas either. We went through a period of turnover, right? When we implemented, I would say, an enhanced culture and lived into our values more than we had in the past after I took over the business. And for some individuals, that's just not what they wanted, right? They wanted to put their feet up. They wanted the easy way. And when they kind of saw the new way we were doing things, they weren't happy about it. So we actually had a good amount of turnover in a very short period of time, which is challenging in our space. Or anytime you're dealing with a complex product, because it takes a while to train individuals. So during that period, we had significant turnover, and at the same time growing top line and very successfully growing profitability. That's kind of what led to the Impact Award, but it was a challenge, and we're still dealing with the ripple effects of that. But I think going through challenges like that, whether it's turnover and still trying to grow top line, you learn how to mitigate those challenges in the future, right? What can we implement today so that if this theoretically happens in the future, we're better prepared for it. Just one example is we now have a management year end, step back to look ahead, where we're effectively saying, hey, what are the internal or external business factors that would have us change our existing plans, our strategic objectives for the following year. I think being able to wrap our head around, hey, how are we going to pivot if we have turnover again? How are we going to pivot if AI disrupts the space? Just kind of brainstorming, but it gives us a framework so that we're not caught off guard as much as we were when we first were acquired and we're transitioning leadership roles.
I knowing you for this 5+ years, you are a very humble person and don't often praise your own success and what you've done to help the company and move forward, and the progress you've made. You know, I've gotten to know several of your direct reports, and they have individually all said the same thing, that you're more than deserving of that award, and they appreciate the fact that you were recognized. Have they been able to share that with you?
Yeah, no, I want to appreciate you saying that. And you know, I'm fortunate to have good leaders around me. You know, I think uh, whether you're president or CEO, one of your main skill sets is getting the right people, yes, on the bus, but they're best people right around you. And look, at the end of the day, they're the ones implementing a lot of the ideas, right? They're the ones who are now getting their hands in it and implementing it. I'm just helping to steer and you know, not losing the forest for the tree. So you know, I'm very, very fortunate to have very strong leaders around me. It's not one individual doesn't run a multi-million-dollar company. It takes strong people, and you know, as much as I won the Impact Award, I think they deserve a little piece of it as well. So all of us together make up, you know, the success and getting through that challenge together. So it's not just me. So all my success is due to the leaders I have around me.
Well, I know that, as I said, they're very proud of you and they appreciate that you were recognized. And I know that they feel a part of that, which uh, they should, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, that's a big part of the company, is what they do is to support you and your goals for the company. So, again, congratulations on that award. I know that you have changed your onboarding process here fairly recently. And would you describe how you've changed it and what impact that has been on your culture?
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to. And we've really revamped the whole process, from pre-screening and additional screening on the front end, to making sure validating that we're getting the right people on the bus. You know, I think so many times when you're interviewing and early on when I was VP is at some point you start rooting for the candidates. You know, you want them to say the right things and you want it to work out. And now we have a better process, one that's multiple layers, right? It's not just one interview and you're hired, or two interviews. There's a pre-screening, there's another pre-screening, there's bringing in, you got to get multiple thumbs up from the team. You know, you got to align with the personalities of the people you're going to work directly with. You know, it's just a lot more challenging to be onboarded. Plus, we do a much more thorough and extensive, you know, background checks and previous employer verification and validation, all that stuff. So that's helped a lot on the pre-screen. And then on the onboarding, right? One of the ideas that I got from you was, you know, day one, their favorite morning drink, whether it's a coffee and a snack, is right there waiting for them. And so, you know, there's questions that we ask throughout the interview process so that first day we can celebrate. Everyone celebrates retirements, they celebrate when people exit, but no one celebrates day one. And so we really changed our onboarding to where we're really celebrating this new employee who went through all this process to become now part of the team, and celebrating that. And that's been a huge, huge success. Because right, what happens after the end of the first day? They go home to their spouse, and what's the story they're going to tell them? You know, and we want them to say, "Hey, this is amazing. This is the place I want to have a career." People tend to remember the beginning and ends of things, and so that's been a big win. And then I think the training model we're trying to implement, you know, it used to take us 8 months to a year to get somebody up to competency, because of the complex nature of our specific line of business. You know, we're closer to a 4 to 6 months. So it's not where I want it yet. There's certainly a lot of room for improvement. Technology and automation is going to help with a lot of that. But it's heading the right direction and continuing to get better.
So how does that affect, you know, obviously it affects your new people. Have you seen any effects of that on your existing staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, the existing staff just wants, if they need help, they need help, and they want it now, right? They want somebody trained up. And you know, our model's always been we hire for character, we train for skill, because it's a unicorn to find somebody who sells our specific niche and line of business, because it is so niche. So we hire the right individuals, and getting them trained up faster provides relief for the individuals who need it on the team. So that's a big win. And I think anytime I'll say, improving culture by showing how important new hires are, right? I think there's an element of, the existing team has to know how important they are as well, and that kind of oozes over, right? I mean, for instance, day one, they don't get taken out to lunch by the management team; they get taken out to lunch by their peers and the people they're going to work around and with, and so everybody kind of gets that free lunch and an opportunity to vet as well, right? They've got skin in the game. They've given their thumbs up as well. So I think getting more people involved, I think it just overall makes the process better.
Yeah, I've seen people that you've hired, talk to them, as you know, and they were very impressed by the way they were accepted, the preparation you all did, how they were greeted, the things that were provided to them, like you said, their favorite snacks, the ideal cup of coffee that they love, and so forth. And it's been very impressive to talk to them after that first day, and you know that they're going home and singing praises of the company. And can you believe I've been hired by this company with such a great culture, and I can never think about leaving them. It's been fantastic to talk to those new hires that you've had recently.
Yeah, yeah. Shouldn't-
How has being part of a Vistage group of like-minded business owners and CEOs affected your leadership mindset?
The biggest mindset shift, and it happens, also be very transparent and vulnerable, is it almost happens every single Vistage meeting where I walk out of the room and I just go, I'm thinking way too small, right? That tends to be the common thought where, we all kind of get in our bubbles, and this is the world I'm living in, and this is my team. And I think as soon as you get out of that and you talk to other people and they have these large goals, or maybe they've already accomplished those goals, um, and I think candid feedback, I've been fortunate to have really quality groups. Quality chair, I think, leads the as goes the chair, so goes the group. We've had very, very good groups, and so I think the candor that's provided in those meetings, and the transparency of the individuals in the group, certainly help me change my mindset and make things bigger. Hey, we 10x profit. That's great, but how do we do it again? How do we, we're well known in the space, but how do we be number one? And how do we triple our business? Like I'm just thinking bigger than I used to think. And obviously, it's a lot of little things that go into making those larger goals happen. But um, I think especially when you're leading a business, you've got to think big. And I'm not just saying everything's a BHAG, right? And all you're doing all day long is these massive goals, but I think it's got to be there, and I think it's got to be realistic in your mind. And being surrounded by people who have already accomplished those things validates that it's possible. And they say that if you're trying to walk up a hill, ask advice for the person who's coming back down the other direction because they've already done it. I think that's at least for my Vistage group, a lot of the advice I get is they've already succeeded in what I'm trying to accomplish.
Is there anything that I should have asked you that I haven't that you'd like to give your answer about?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we could talk for hours if we wanted, on every little aspect of even what we just talked about. But I think, overall, depending on the audience of who's viewing this, if it's the value add of Vistage, it's the idea of self improvement and accountability through other individuals who are either doing it with you or have already been there, and they now expect that of you. And I think it's a way to elevate your game. And I do think kind of the goals of the key group are different than the goals of the CE group. And having those distinct groups, I think, is a great thing to have, and a resource to have. And I can't tell you how often outside of Vistage, right? It's like, hey, I learned this week. Hey, this is what we talked about this week. And it's like when you want to buy a new car and you see that car everywhere. Same is kind of in a Vistage group. When you're working on a specific skill set, all of a sudden you see what that is or could be, or somebody doing it right everywhere. So I think it keeps your eye on the prize. It helps move the needle. It changes your mindset. I think it helps you zoom out and see things on a bigger scale, and see what could be possible, and that it's not as much just the individual, but developing the skill sets to be like the individuals who have already succeeded in the ways that you're trying to succeed. So it's been a great resource for me. I've got my ops leader and two of my other managers in Vistage as well, just because I've gotten so much out of it. And hopefully they'll do the same in their respective roles.
Ben, I really appreciate the time you've given us today and your insight. As usual, I think you nailed it. I think in baseball terms, you hit a home run. So I really appreciate your time and what you shared today, and may you be successful in the future.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it.
All right, you have a great day.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right. Take care.